What's up guys, today's build is going to be a Void Titan build that uses constant regen for grenades, making enemies volatile, and making them explode. I'm going to be going over what subclass abilities, aspects, and fragments to choose, as well as what armor and mods to go with them as well. In the description below there will be the link to the dim loadout if you want to use it, and if you could drop a like on the video, that would be extremely helpful to my channel. That being said, let's get started. First off, starting with the Void subclass, I chose to use Ward of Dawn just because it's a support for your teammates and for yourself, and the Weapons of Light buff is pretty sweet. For the abilities, I chose to go with Towering Barricade just because it blocks more shots whenever you want to go for a revive or whenever you bring Overrun. But it's really up to you. For the movement, again, it's kind of up to you, it's all preference, but I chose to go with the Strafe Lift. And then for the Void melee ability, you can go for either one, but they both have benefits. I personally did the shield throw just because I really enjoy using it, and it can give you overshield if you hit an enemy, but the shield bash is also a really good option because you can suppress a target with it and gain overshield as well. Plus, it does a lot of damage if all your buffs are up. Honestly, the shield bash is probably the better option, but I have too much fun throwing the shields. For the grenade, I like using the magnetic grenade because it magnetizes towards enemies and it has 2 explosions on it, but the suppressor grenade works really well because it suppresses the enemies, plus the explosion on the grenade seems to have a really good radius. Going on to the aspects, first step is going to be controlled demolition. That will make it so any void abilities that you hit enemies with will make them volatile. And the further damage that you'll do to them will cause them to explode and not only kill enemies around you, which is very potent, but it also can heal yourself and your teammates. Second aspect is going to be offensive bulwark, meaning while you have an overshield or you're inside of Ward of Dawn, your grenade charges significantly faster, and you have increased melee range and damage, which makes melee final blows extend the duration of your overshield. Next up is going to be the fragments, and for the first one I chose Echo of Undermining, which makes your void grenades weaken targets, and since this build is all about grenades, it's really good fragment to start off with. It does give minus 20 discipline, which hurts our grenade gen, but we will make up for it, so it doesn't even matter. The second fragment is going to be Echo of Instability, which when defeating targets with grenades grants volatile rounds to your void weapon, which, spoiler alert, we will be using a void SMG in the build. I will go over there in a little bit, but also it gives you plus 10 strength. Yippee. Fragment number 3 is going to be Echo of Persistence, which gives increased duration to void buffs applied like Invisibility, Overshield, and Devour. We will be using this because our build uses Overshield and Devour. Which brings me to my final fragment, Echo of Starvation. Picking up an Orb of Energy grants Devour. Devour restores our health to full and grants energy for grenades as well. Also, Devour somehow extends Devour, which is nuts. Real quick, if you haven't already, leaving a like or even commenting on the video is absolutely huge for my channel, and I would appreciate it if you could help me out. Now the stats I would recommend would be 100 Resilience because of the 40% damage reduction. And then from there, I would probably do Discipline to help with grenade gen as much as possible. Strength might also be useful for those sweet shield throws. Now for the armor mods. For the helmet, I went with a 10 Resilience mod. Ashes to Assets, which gains super energy on grenade kills. Harmonic Siphon, which gives you orbs of power whenever you gain rapid weapon kills that match the subclass type, which of course we're going to be using Void. And last I went with Elemental Ordnance, which spawns Elemental Wells when defeating an enemy with a grenade. For the arm mods, I chose another plus 10 Resilience mod to cap off my 100 Resilience. Momentum Transfer, so that way my grenades help my shield throw cooldown. Then I chose Fastball, which increases grenade throw distance, but I usually will change that to a seasonal mod for like Overload, Unstoppable, or Anti-Barrier champions. Overload will work the best this season with this build, just because of the Void SMG we're going to be using. The last mod for the arms is Seeking Wells, which will make Elemental Wells move towards players, so that way you don't have to chase after them. It's incredibly helpful for you and your teammates. Moving to the chest armor now, I chose to use the Armamentarium Exotic because of course the extra grenade charge. Having an extra grenade can continue the volatile explosions even more with less chance of having your buffs taken away. For the mods, I chose a plus 10 Discipline mod for more grenade regen, the Armor of the Dying Star seasonal mod, which just reduces the incoming solar and void damage, which can kind of be changed for whatever defensive mod you have if that one isn't available. The Concussive Dampener mod, which helps with AoE damage from enemies, but the Sniper Damage Resistance mod one will work really well as well. And finally, the Font of Might mod, which gives us bonus void damage every time that we pick up a well, which we will be doing all the time. Going to the leg mods, I chose another plus 10 Discipline mod for grenades, The Better Already mod, which makes our health regen whenever we pick up an orb. Absolution, which reduces all ability cooldowns on orb pickup as well. And Well of Tenacity, which makes us reduce damage we take from enemies whenever you pick up a Void Elemental Well. Finally, onto the Titan mark, I took a +5 minor discipline mod, the Radiant Orbs seasonal class mod, which makes you radiant whenever you pick an orb up, and then utility kickstart, which makes you gain ability energy when energy is fully expanded. Last, I did elemental armaments, which escalates the chance of wells spawning after you kill someone with a weapon that matches the subclass, so the Void SMG we're going to be using. You can switch out the Radiant Orbs for any other seasonal mod that might work out if this is being viewed later on past the Season of the Haunted. And now that looks like it brings us to, quite frankly, the most important part of the whole build. It's going to bring us to the weapons, or should I say weapon, because your primary and heavy really are all preference. It really doesn't matter. I usually run Wither Horde and a Storm Chaser in the heavy slot, or maybe a Palmyra rocket launcher. It just kind of depends on what I'm doing. But the important one here is the Void SMG, which is going to be the Unforgiven. This weapon is incredibly special because not only does it come from the Duality Dungeon, but can also roll with Demolitionist and Adrenaline Junkie, the only one that can do that in the whole game. I'm using a Demolitionist and Golden Tricorn roll, which Demolitionist makes it so that way your kills generate grenade energy, which is crucial to this build, and then Golden Tricorn greatly increases the damage for your grenades or melee kills every time you get a kill with the SMG. The combo I have works really well because the nades are a big part of this build, plus having that damage buff makes it even better. I also heard that Demolitionist and Repulsor Brace roll would be really good for a Void build like this as well, because Repulsor Brace can give you that extra overshield just from getting a kill. This build is really fun, and it's something that I totally recommend trying if you want to play a little bit different than how everybody's playing this season, especially if you want to disintegrate everything in your way with the Void Grenades, Volatile rounds, the Well buffs, and the huge explosions. This build is a must try. Remember, the dim build is in the description of the video, and if you enjoyed this or found this helpful, please leave a like. Again, it helps me out a ton. Comment down below on what you think might work a little bit better, or what build you think I should do next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.